afternoon. Today is Thursday, May 14th. Sorry for the exhaust fan. I finished cooking the flank steak not that long ago. So this morning, while I was waiting to go to my doctor's appointment, my stockbroker finance guy called to check in, probably to check in and give me a talking to. He really gave me a talking to when I told him what was going on. And yeah, he gave me a talking to, and I told him that I didn't call because I was trying to come up with ways to get the money without having to call him. And he wasn't crazy about that. He's like, you shouldn't have called and told him, call him or his assistant sooner when this stuff was happening. And I'm like, I didn't want to get yelled at. And he really wasn't yelling at me. He was like giving me a stern talking to that I have to get my life together and get a job because this money is not going to last very long. And it's going to be scary times in a few years if I don't get my act together. And that set my tone for my mood the rest of the morning. I was crying on and off, or tearing up. I really didn't want to do a full-fledged cry because my roommate was home. I was crying at him. So yeah. And then Lee's Plumbing and Air or whatever, she called me back saying that they still haven't heard back from the city about the inspections for this, so it's going to be a little bit longer. Of course it is, because it's the city. So yeah. Then I went to my doctor's appointment, tearing up the way there because of my phone call, and I was like subdued when talking to him. I gave a sample, and they tested it there, and it wasn't showing any signs of a UTI. I'm like, that's good. But he gave me a prescription for a antibiotic, and they're gonna send it out. And I was like, I said, I told you I didn't want to hear any bad results from my blood test because I, got enough crap going on. And he's like, well, it wasn't bad news. I'm like, well, this diet is not going to cut it with all the stress I've got going on. I didn't tell him about this morning, but I was like tearing up, waiting for him to come in and talk, to see me and stuff. And then I went to Walgreens, dropped off a prescription. There was like nobody in line, which was a shock. And then I went to Einstein Bagels to get a nice coffee, and that's all I got. And the woman was amazed. That's all I asked, because it's $1.99, really cheap. And the girl who I think that did it, she made the coffee. She was new, and she filled it all the way to the top, no room for cream. I had to pour some of it out so I can put cream in the coffee, and I drank that for a bit. And then I went, because I was waiting to see if my prescription was gonna be ready. It wasn't, so then I decided to go across the street to get a beef sandwich from Windy City Beef and Duck, because I wanted it. But I went to Sprouts first because I needed more creamer. And even though right now I'm trying to lay off the coffee, even though I just had a coffee, but coffee is not good when you have a UTI. And I'm like, well, I didn't have a UTI. The results said I didn't have one, so I'm gonna have a coffee. But anyway, I bought a new creamer, and then I went to Windy City Beef and Dog and got the sandwich and fries to go. And I got today's special, if you buy a beef with fries, you get a free drink. And so all that they have Pepsi products and for fountain drinks. They used to have Coke products, and then I forget when they switched. Like a couple of years ago, they switched to Pepsi. I took Pepsi Zero because they didn't have root beer in the fountain drink. It was awful. I had to throw it out. I hate Pepsi. But came home and ate, and then I made the flank steak. It's resting right now before I cut it up, and so yeah, it's not a good day, not a good morning. Gotta get my act together. So that's it for right now. See you guys later.